Welcome to another video on my channel. I think this will be episode 2 of me trying to come up with my own knitting pattern. Normally, my name is Michelle and I'm normally a crochet designer. So I usually make patterns for, well, people who crochets, but I am getting more and more into knitting and I feel like, well, it would just be natural to do something, create something for myself as well when it comes to like a knitting pattern. So last time, I think I had a bit of an introduction. I showed you also a swatch that I made, and I also did talk about, well, sorry, my husband is trying to get the kids down and the baby is a little upset. But hopefully it won't bother us too much in this video. Well, yeah, so I feel like I talked a bit about my thoughts of making and that I wanted to do something small. And yeah, I have a little bit, a small update. So I thought we'd talk more about that in this video. And so if that sounds great, fun, interesting, please stay, grab something nice to drink and maybe a project so your hands are busy while you're listening, and let's start this episode. Okay guys, I am not gonna lie, just for your information, I feel like I have started so many new projects just because my two big ones are a bit on a slow pace right now. I'm knitting on two big projects, two tops actually, and well, one top and one cardigan, and it has taken me a bit of time to make those or work on those because just time, like I'm the only one caring for the kids at the moment because my husband is working full-time. So there's just so little time in the day for me to knit. I have 3 small kids, if you're new here. So yeah, so it feels like I'm just like, oh, well, I'm just going to start something new because it's fast and easy or whatever. But then I end up with, I think I have at the moment at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 things going, which is not ideal. However, we're not going to talk about that right now because I didn't even include this one, but also I am in the process of coming up with my own knitting pattern. However, it is also something that I have allowed myself to, you know, take as long as it needs to take. And as you can see, I'm waving this little new swatch that I made. I try to, let's just jump in, by the way. I try to save myself some time. So last time I did this swatch, which is a double-sided one, and I did also make this little place where I wanted to try steeking because that's going to be something I have to do with the cardigan that I'm working on. But yeah, I don't think that I secured it enough. I tried to do it with just crochet stitches actually, and I don't think that made it secure enough. You can see that like some of the red is like wanting to peek out. Anyway, so I'm not going to do that on my cardigan. I'm going to actually use my sewing machine for that to just make sure that I don't ruin all the work that I put in. However, so obviously it takes a little bit more time when you're doing it a double one. You do get a good idea though about how the pattern will look and etc. when you do that. And yeah, and I thought this was really cool. I did not like that it was so much space though, just because of the reason, like there was some like very long floating. However, I also learned that there are a trick how to make the floatings the thread well secured on a few stitches. You can like basically lock some in with your stitches as you go without it like ruining the design. So I can always do that, but I thought, hey, let's just make the pattern a little bit more interesting basically. And so here we are. So I told you I wanted to save myself time from not having to do it double, so I tried to do it just one side, but I still wanted to work in the rounds just because it's easier than going back and forth. So I ended up just having long yeah, floatings, like long threads instead of making 2 sides, and I'll show you a little picture here of maybe how that will look. But then I felt like I couldn't really see the pattern properly, and you know, I was lazy, so I just cut that up. But then I felt like, oh shit, I'm gonna these things are gonna maybe open. So I saw my you know, what is super glue, and I just super glued it on both sides here. Don't recommend that if you are working with something that you really care about, because it actually melted a little bit, the yarn or the wool. And also it made it a little bit stiff and hard on those places, like you can't even bend that. You can bend it in the middle, but you cannot bend it on these where the glue is. But it doesn't matter, because this is me just basically testing how the pattern is looking. And so as you can see, I did update and I did change a little bit in my pattern. I don't know, I think, and I also, by the way, wanted to try it too, because that was one of the things that I thought of last time. That was that this was a bit thick, maybe a bit bulky, maybe that was a little bit too thick. I know it depends on what kind of, you know, item or wearable I'm trying to make, or accessory I'm trying to make. I think I'm going to go with a cowl, because I feel like that's going to be a simple shape. It's going to be something that you can maybe adjust pretty easy. I think also it's going to, yeah, show the pattern off a bit good. So I wanted to try it with a little bit of thinner yarns. I think this would be considered fingering yarns. I think this is more of a worsted yarn, DK yarn. I don't know the huge difference, the big difference between those two weights, I guess, in yarns. But yeah, and I do think that the actual pattern, the motif, if you will, comes out a little bit nicer in the fingering yarn. I think it looks a little bit more elegant almost. Like, can you imagine like a cowl like that? I even like these colors. I wasn't like trying to use this. I just basically wanted to try the actual yarn for it. But I did have some extra like leftover from other projects. So this is, I think, the alpaca, drops alpaca, I think, and finger yarn, the tomato red or something. And I think this is the drops flora, the sand like color or something. But I think they just works beautiful. Like, reminds me a little Christmassy, right? I think that will look really nice as part of a cowl. I don't know, would you do two, like repeat the pattern twice? Would it be on that side maybe? Would do it maybe twice? I feel like you should maybe one, then you should probably have it two, like double. I think that would be a good size if you use this kind of thickness of yarn. So the other thing that I was talking about last time was also like if I should do a double, because you do want to have the pattern on both sides. But if you do make a cowl, is that how you pronounce it? Then I'm sorry, I'm looking at myself just to see how it looks as well. I feel like it doesn't really matter if you can see on the inside, or like I think one layer is enough, so you can work that all the way around. You could, I guess, also make just a regular scarf by just like basically work it in the round, and then you just like basically sew the ends together once you've reached the length you want, and then you can basically use that to wrap around yourself, and maybe a double then as well to have a nice one. So that is an option as well. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know, but I feel like little baby's very sad finding dad. We'll see how much he wants to. Maybe he'll give up and come with her. Anyway. So yeah, I'm really like excited now to try this on an actual project. I do feel like I'm going to try out the cowl first, just because it is a little smaller project. I don't need as much yarn, and then I can like go from there. And I do have some scrap yarn, I was going to say, but not really scrap yarn, just yarn in my stash that I haven't used. And so I have these two colors. Oh my god, I probably will have to go out and get her. But like, I don't know if they will do the best contrast for it. I'm going to try to be a bit quick, but this is soft alpaca from Hobby. So I have those colors, and I have, I think, enough for a cowl. So maybe that's why I want to maybe try the fingering yarn and make a cowl, because this would definitely not be, I think, enough for a whole scarf that is double, that I do work in the round. So I think I will do the cowl with this, and hopefully have that in the next episode of this series, however long it's going to be. But I also actually ended up, I did wanted to try, because I've never tried sandness yarn. Is that what you call it? Sandness. Well, in Swedish we pronounce it garn, but I guess yarn. Anyway, I think most people are familiar with the Peer Gynt and this brand. And I was excited now to feel how this one just feels. I'm probably not going to use it for this maybe, but I will try to make some kind of swatch with this, just to try the yarn out and see if that's something maybe I want to do a second version later on maybe. And I know it's a little thicker, maybe a DK yarn, a worsted yarn. Like I said, I don't know the huge difference there. So it will obviously change the size of that pattern. So I don't know if that would work. We'll see. I am trying it out, but I just wanted to show you that I am playing around with this still, and I think I'm really happy with how this came out, and we'll keep going with that and try it now. And the next step is to try it on a bigger pattern. I was going to talk about something more. And that is, yeah, I wanted to show you the swatch. I also, like I mentioned this book, the knitting pattern writing book, handbook, and how to write great patterns that knitters will love to make by Christina McGrath and Sarah Woolworth. I don't know the pronunciation, I'm so sorry. But that book. So I feel like I need to give myself a bit of a homework and to go through this a little bit and take notes and just like, just maybe look into this session where it's about the gauge as well, and just so I have all the tricks that I might find, usually like use the tricks that I might, you know, have access to actually. So that I also wanted to show you, but that is basically it. I hope that in the next episode / video that I will have an actual some kind of sample product that I made, but I do have to prioritize the projects that I have. I have 2 crochet projects at least, and maybe 3 knitting projects already that I need to work on. So yeah, I will put that a little bit on ice, but I do find it very intriguing. Like once I did this, I was like, yes, this is, we're getting closer. I like this, by the way. I like the shape that we have around there as well. So I'm hoping to, yeah. Oh. So let's see here. Yeah. Mommy Duty's calling, or is Mommy Duty? You want to sleep with Mama? So I am gonna say goodbye for now, and hopefully we'll have a better episode next time with less interruption. But I need to care for the little baby. So have a good one, and I hope you will, yeah, stick around and watch other videos coming soon. Have a good night.